Hello, and welcome to Paranormal Saturday. Welcome
to the paranormal, to the paranormal, to the paranormal, to the paranormal.
You may enter at your own discretion. You may enter at your own discretion.
Hello. So glad you could join us today on Paranormal Saturday, here within the Paranormal Mansion. Paranormal Saturday is a parashow like no other, folks. For here, we do dabble a bit in theatrics, as well as satire, skits, and whatever else will help highlight certain themes and drive home the point. Also, folks, I don't host this show alone, for I also happen to have two fictional made-up co-hosts who go by the names of Mr. Small Pint and Mr. Big Stuff. They both provide a bit of comic relief and balance to the show when needed.
Boss, am I funny to you?
Shut up, Twinkle Toes. Anyways, with that being said, please do have a seat and buckle up. For as usual, you're in for one heck of a ride as we explore the paranormal. So let's do this. Welcome all to Paranormal Saturday. Welcome all Mansion.
Boss, am I funny to you?
Good grief.
Good dog it, Mom. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of Paranormal Saturday. And again, this show is different. I'm different. Many people are different. And so this show is produced more towards those of us who are different and like our paranormal delivered to us in a different manner, on a different kind of plate. So when you hear me, myself, Mr. Small Paint, and sometimes Mr. Big Stuff, think of us more like cartoon characters or stick figures in like a claymation type of presentation. You know, like those old Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer playtation, what they call it, claymations. That's what we are here on Paranormal Saturday, folks. We're kind of a cartoonish claymation figurines. And with that being said, let's get on with today's show. Now, folks, in order to put on a decent paranormal show, you first have to put on a show to yourself, meaning you have to talk about something that interests you. And paranormal usually deals with scary things,
whatever.
And one of the things that really scares me, folks, lately, it's not so much ghosts or spirits or the unknown. It's man, straight up man. And this COVID period has really proven to me, shown me, and many others how scary man can be when man panics. Especially when those who panic have the power, are in control of the government, and can pass laws or edicts or mandates that affect us all.
Major announcement for schools in California. Governor Newsom announcing a new COVID vaccine requirement for all eligible students. The new statewide rule is the first of its kind in the country.
Under Governor Gavin Newsom's order, everyone working in a healthcare facility must show proof of full vaccination by September 30th. Within hours of the mandate, two of the state's most prominent healthcare unions said they're supporting the move.
Here in the city, it will be up to businesses to essentially police their customers and ask them for proof. They'll have to show that CDC vaccination card or use one of the two apps created by the city or the state. Businesses will have about a month to put all of this into action, and then
And folks, I could go on and on. I don't have to, because you see it yourself in your own daily life every time you turn on the radio, you know? But I guess since this is Paranormal Saturday, my point is this. How many of us are really prepared? I mean, let's say, okay, fine. As of now, at least we somewhat are still able to resist. I mean, people are losing their jobs, you know. All these mandates are, you know, the government can't do it. So now that the government and corporations have merged, the government simply uses corporations and their ties with corporations to simply step on people's constitutional rights. It's a very sneaky, slithery move, but it's what's occurring. I mean, mandates are scary, folks. Mandates set a precedent for all kinds of uglier things or uglier mandates down the road and in the future. Once you accept one type of mandate, then who's to say that down the road a more imposing, hideous type of mandate or mandates will not be delivered out? And I think if people don't stand up now, then when? Because everything is a test run to the powers that be. Everything is simply a test run. Well, if we can force them to take a shot like stupid guinea pigs, well then who's to say we cannot force them who to mate with, who to marry, what religion they must believe in? You see what I'm saying? It's a slippery slope for the next worldwide dictator. Or maybe some of y'all that are religious might want to call it the Antichrist. But I've got some, that's for a different topic there.
Boss, you're drifting off the script. Here, you told me to keep you on point. Here, read this.
Give me that, man. Get the
hell, man.
We gotta mess stuff up, man. Anyways, that's a small pint. Mr. Small Pint. My annoying sidekick. But anyways, folks, what does it say here? God dog. Oh, that's right. The reason why I'm bringing all this up, folks, is because many people are not prepared to live off the grid. Many people are a few meals away from literally starving to death in America. I mean, folks, the grocery stores could empty out overnight, as they do during hurricanes or other emergencies where people panic and run into the grocery stores and empty the shelves like in 2 minutes. Like a cartoon, they all go in there and everything. So what you gonna do after that, folks? And I'm saying most people are not prepared to survive the day after the disaster. And so today's show, short segment show, is simply here to give you some ideas and suggestions. And one of the main things you're going to need, let's say if things get bad and you can no longer take the mandates, maybe the government issues a mandate, well, they want all people to have, lay down with a goat or something, a satanic goat. Whatever the mandate could be. There's going to come a time where you just can't take anymore. And if you're one of those independent people that just, you value your freedom over servitude, then you're going to have to start thinking about how you're going to survive if you should live off the grid. And one of the main things you will need is a handheld water filter. Hand me the filter, Small Pint.
Okay, boss. Here, catch.
Ah, oh, doggone it, you hit me in the head, man. Shit. Next time be...
Anyways, folks.
I'm holding here in my hand, it's called a, what's it called here? Membrane Solutions. Handheld water filter. All you gotta simply do is dip it in a lake, a stream, a pond or something, and it...
Boss, why don't you read the directions?
Look here, Small Pint, I'm macho, unlike you, I'm macho. I don't need to read the directions. Okay, folks, it's very simple. You simply submerge it in water, and then, and then you put the water in there and you drink, whatever. But all I'm saying, folks, is you need to get you one of these, because water is life, and in an emergency... The government could get nasty with these mandates. What if they say, okay, we're going to shut off everyone's water and force them to get on their knees, and come to us. Well, if you have one of these, water filtration systems, you won't need to get on your knees. You just get up and walk up into the mountains. And you can, it's like, maybe I'll put one on the cover of this podcast so you can see what it looks like. But no, maybe I won't, because then everybody will make a run from them. They won't be able to get them. I don't know. But look it up yourself, folks. But that's one of the things you need to start thinking about is how you're going to get fresh water should your water supply get disrupted, either through an accident or through some evil government mandate. Okay, Small Pint, what else is in the box? Well, throw it here. Give it to me. Ah, dog it. Man, you hit me in the head again. Watch how you throw stuff, man. God, dog. Anyways, folks, this is another thing that most people do not think of. And this is called a fire starter. I'm not going to open it up. I'm going to leave it in the package. But it's like, like you used to... we used to all watch those shows where they would, if you were in the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever, Cub Scouts, or in Small Pint's instance, it would be the Twinkle Toes of Scouts.
Haha, real funny, boss.
But anyways, folks, you see people sliding two pieces of twig together to light a fire. I could never make that happen, folks. Now, I don't care. I sit there half a day rubbing two sticks together, and there would never be a fire come from that. So they got this one thing called the fire starter stick, and it's, I don't know, flint metal or something like that, and it's a very effective way because they're made out of metal and not wood. And so, it's a very effective way to start a fire should you find yourself on the run or in a wet environment, because matches, come on, let's face it, matches, what if you fall in the water or something, or you get rained on? Matches are no good. But if you have this, what's called a fire starter, and look it up online, then I don't care how wet you are or, whatever your environment is, it produces very hot sparks, which then allows you to create a fire. And I think this is important. I think these two things I just mentioned are the most important things you can have if you are living off the grid, and that is a water filtration, one that fits in your hand that you can take with you, because let's face it, you cannot take bottles of water with you. It's too much weight. You got to think practically, folks. And the next most important thing to me is this fire starter stick. You're gonna need fire, because with fire you can cook, you can sanitize your food, you can, with fire is heat, you can stay warm. There's a lot of things you're gonna need a fire for should you find yourself in the mountains running away from Gavin Newsom's stormtroopers in California there. Okay, let's go to the next item.
Here, boss.
Man, you're a wacky small pint. Anyways, folks, and of course, everyone's going to need an emergency preparedness kit. And again, we always take this for granted, It just, I don't know. We've become lazy as a society, especially those that live in the urban areas. That's why everybody always rushes off so quick to the hospital, I think everyone should just be trained to do at least a minimal emergency room, medical care on self and or family. That's why everybody rushes off to the emergency room. You see how helpless we are? Do you think people rushed off to the emergency room 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 80 years ago? No, your granddad say, come here, boy. Or your dad or your uncle, come here, boy. And they would fix your broken leg or cure you of this or cure you of that, because these remedies were in the home back then. But now, it's everybody goddamn lazy, man. The minute something bad, let's go to the hospital. Let's run off to the hospital. Back in the day, like in the cowboy days, whatever, somebody got shot or something, they treated it themselves, and they, whatever. But I know times have changed. But everybody is going to need an emergency preparedness kit with at least basic stuff in it, bandages, some sanitizers, antibacterial gunk or monk.
Boss, I see you really don't know a whole lot about this stuff.
Will you shut up, man? This is my show, not yours, you twinkle toes. You don't know nothing, you autistic and dizzy. This is my show. No, you're my assistant. Now you shall sit there and keep your trap shut. Anyways, folks, try to make me look bad in front of my audience. So real quick, because I'm going to keep this show short, but you're going to want a water filtration system, a fire starter, basically two pieces of metal that are able to create very hot sparks so that you can get a fire going in the woods even if it's wet. And you're going to want an emergency preparedness package. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. Hunting or food or weapons or guns, whatever. Okay, most men, try to be all macho and like Rambo, and they want to own all these, big gigantic guns and weapons and da-da-da. Forget about all that, folks. Forget about all that, man. You know why? Because guns are loud. The whole point of trying to survive off the grid is to live under the radar, under the audible as well as visible radar. So to me, it makes more sense, folks. Let's say you're going to want to eat, you're going to want some protein.
Boss, what if you're vegetarian?
That's why you're so dizzy, Small Pint, because you don't eat enough protein and meat, doggone it. But I tell you what, Small Pint, you get hungry enough up in the woods and the mountains, you're going to eat anything. Snails.
Gross.
Crickets.
Gross.
Doggone baboon meat, if you're hungry enough, okay? But anyways, folks, what I'm saying is...
Boss, that's gross. I would never eat a baboon.
Yes, you would if you were hungry enough. But anyways, you know what, Small Pint? I'm going to end up using that first aid kit on you if you quit interrupting my show, or this show, Paranormal Saturday. But, okay. 3, 2, 1, let me calm down. My point is, folks, when you're out in the woods, and let's say, you're off the grid, and you want some meat. You don't need a lot of meat. Squirrel meat, rabbit meat, I don't know about possum meat. Whatever. You're going to want a BB gun or a pellet gun versus a real loud bullet caliber gun, in my opinion. Only because guns tend to give you away. That's all. Because also, folks, a lot of people, when they think living off the grid, they think of way out in the forest like Grizzly Adams, 1,000, miles away from anything. No. If you notice, within a lot of urban cities or city areas, whatever, just right outside the city, is pretty much all the wilderness and wild open space you'll ever need. You ever go to like a off-ramp and you see like all those trees and everything? Where do you think all those homeless people live? They don't live way out, in the middle of Montana, in the middle of nowhere. a lot of them are camping and living off the grid right within the city limits, where there's all kinds of trees and little rivers and stuff that you don't know about. Back in the